Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Mad Mamluks podcast. My name is Sim. Along with me is my co-host, my man Mort.
Assalamu alaikum.
Before we get this show started, help us out on patreon.com/the Mad Mamluks. Alternatively, you can go to themadmamluks.com/donate and help us out via PayPal. We have a cool show for you guys this evening. We have a gentleman by the name of Adham.
Yes. Assalamu alaikum. How you guys doing?
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So I've been trying to get Adham on the show for a while. So this is why it's been taking a while, and I'm really happy and I'm excited. But yeah, we've been communicating for almost a year. Literally, but back and forth, but it just never materialized. But now, alhamdulillah, we had the time to actually get him on the show. And it's going to be a super interesting show because we have a lot of stuff to talk about. But Adham, do you want to just give a brief intro to who you are, and then we can go from there, and then kind of we'll jump into the meat of it.
Yeah, sure. Why not? I'm Adham Odif. I made this. The reason why we're talking today, a big reason for it is I made this Ertugrul fan film. I put it up on YouTube. I won a few awards overseas, that kind of thing. And I'm really interested in making films in the future. I'm doing a lot of things. I'm in school. I'm about to graduate pretty soon in software development, and I'm doing a little jiu-jitsu. And
Nice.
Happy to be on the show.
Are you a MMA fan? Do you watch UFC at all?
Big time. I like Habib a lot.
Yeah. Who doesn't like him? But Did you happen to see the Conor fight last weekend?
Man, everything he said was gonna happen to Poirier, and ill will happen to him. Yeah, hey, you're gonna go on a stretcher, he goes on a stretcher. I'm gonna break his leg, he breaks his leg.
It's crazy because I saw Habib's. He hardly ever comments on fights like this, and he comments on it and says, "You know what? I couldn't be happier," and basically reminding him, Allah makes you humble. You know what I mean? And
man. That's a lesson that anybody can take. Like, yeah, it was directed kind of to Conor, but if you watch that, anybody can take it. As soon as once you have victories, once you're successful, as soon as you think that the victory comes from you and not from Allah, and this goes for individuals and nations alike. You'll be brought down to your knees. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
He certainly broke a leg.
Yeah, I saw a funny meme of him where it was showing him like in a boxing stance, and he had like the Captain Hook leg.
Yeah.
The pirate leg,
the peg leg.
Yeah, the peg leg.
Yeah.
And it was just the funniest thing because
there's so many good memes out there. I can't.
Man, Money Mayweather, he posted a pic of him sitting with a foot just distorted. Yeah. I like them kicks, G.
Yeah, no, he showed his ankle all bent, and it was great, man. So you're people don't know this, but you're originally from Yemen, and that's and also a very interesting thing because
is Adhami a Yemeni name?
Adham is an Arabic name.
Adham, I think Adham is originally, I've looked it up once, and I think it's originally from Masr. It's a Masri name, Egyptian, maybe before even the times of Islam. I'm not sure, but I know it just means black stallion. So
yeah,
that's what it means. We had a guy we went to school with, Hassan Adami.
Yeah,
but we thought he was a spy because he never partook with us in our nefarious plans to take over the world when we were 18, 19.
Oh my God, was this pre 9/11?
Yeah, this was pre 9/11. We thought we would establish the Khilafah in every country around the world by now.
Yeah,
that didn't happen.
We were going to start with California because it was close to California, so we were going to make. You know what I mean?
But we had big plans. But Hassan, he was not part of those plans.
He was a Debbie Downer.
He was always very intellectual. He was very smart. He had he knew that we weren't up to no good, so he avoided us.
Yeah, but and the reason why I bring that up is because this show, Ertugrul, it kind of united a lot of Muslims from many different backgrounds, whether they be Arab, they be Indian, Pakistani, they be Afghani, even non-Muslims who are like Hispanic people. This
a lot of them converted.
Yes, this show went viral in like Latin America, as many people know.
South America too.
Yes,
South Africa. I mean.
Yeah, South Africa as well. Many places where people wanted good, wholesome entertainment with good values. it went viral, and that is one of the reasons why I bring this up. And so maybe you could talk about this, because I mean, I know about myself. For me, before Ertugrul, I hardly ever watched Turkish dramas. Most of them were like, romantic, and like, wasn't something that we would normally watch, right? It was more for the ladies to watch, right?
Or like the elderly, the old people. Oh, you here go watch something nice.
Exactly.
Let me give you my thoughts on this whole thing. So, me too. I'm the same as you. I never watched any Turkish drama, no Arab drama, no nothing. The only exposure I ever had to like such any type of media from the East was like NBC, and you all know how terrible that is. You know what I mean? It's just very cheesy, boring. And so what happened was my cousin, who actually just came from our village in Yemen. We were chilling. He watches a lot of Turkish shows, and one day I was like playing this medieval game. This The Witcher, right? This was like 2 or 3 years ago, and I was like, yeah, this medieval stuff's pretty cool. And he was like, oh, you know what? We should watch this show, Arturo. And I was like, nah, I'm good, And we watched the first episode. He forced me to watch the first episode after like so many months of trying to beg me, convince me. And I'm watching it, and I started off, and I was like, it's another one of these cheesy drama shows. But I'll just for him. Yeah. And I fell asleep. On the first episode. And then, I don't know, something about it captured my interest. The intro, when they start with Haydarullah, like something about that captured my interest. But like, a little bit into it, I just had that the preconception that no, it's just another one of those Eastern boring, terribly written shows, right? And so, but I got the interest, and I was like, all right, let me watch episode 2. And I watched episode 2 and 3, and I'm like, this guy, this actor, he doesn't look like your typical, what I've been exposed to all my life, the Western, looking guy. You know what I mean? Doesn't look like your typical action hero. I'm like, I saw Turgut, and I was like, oh, that guy should have been the main character. I could have done this better. You know what I mean? But then, dude, I don't know. The 4th, 5th, 6th episode, I was completely hooked. It was just, I was completely hooked. And like after that, I don't think a single day went by where I didn't watch at least 1 or 2 episodes. And
I think everybody felt that way about the show.
Right? It was different.
And like,
I skipped all the scenes with the woman though, because I found after like the first season, I just realized like, oh, they're inconsequential to the show.
Well, there's a few like Sheldon Hatun, and like how they kind of get involved in the beginning. But actually, I see what you're saying. Eventually, later on, I think the most influential probably in that show, was maybe in my opinion, was Aslahan, like because she actually had some the tribe. But other than that, the rest of them were kind of like. I mean, they were just more like, "Oh, we love you. We support you."
Actually, Haima Hatun, the beast.
Oh, I know, she was always there. I look at her more of like the elderly. She's not really a woman, right? She's just the elderly. Yeah. But I mean, talking about Aslahan, who in the second season was responsible for her tribe, because remember her dad was conspiring in her brother and all this stuff. So she was responsible for her. She became this responsible figure for her tribe, and I feel like in that way, she had a really important role, right? In that regards. But I mean, just to go back to what you were saying, in general, I think a lot of people got hooked. Like this whole idea of like representing Islam and saying,
in a positive way.
Yeah.
In a way you could be proud. And not just that, but also, so it's like this show had elements, and it's actually, I don't know if it was on purpose or not, but it had elements of like some Western media that, like maybe like the story writing or the direction or something that, that could keep you hooked. Like a lot of like the Eastern shows, I don't know what about them, it's just boring or it's cheesy, but like this had like some smart elements. It was written smartly, a lot smarter than a lot of Western films. After watching the show, I watched a lot of other shows, like I can't watch them anymore because I'm like, man, the story writing sucks, the timing sucks, the pacing is bad, the characters are not, developed. But not just that. So, they showed, and the best thing, I think the most vital thing of this show, connecting all people around the world is, and I think it's a consequence of the Turkish culture in general, is that it is an overlapping of all cultures, of all the like Muslim, dominant cultures, right? They have a lot of like things, that Pakistanis can, associate with. They have a lot of things Yemenis can associate. They have a lot of things, Indonesians can associate with, because they're that Eastern, that Eurasian,
Bridge.
territory.
The bridge.
And the Ottoman Empire
Yeah.
reached every part of the world. So we
Exactly,
have some ties to that tradition. Like every time we watch, you'd be like, oh, we recognize that from our culture. We recognize that.
Yeah.
Like, we recognize that. Like it was just something that you could pick up and be like, oh, it resonates with us. Like, yes, we get that, And I think the other thing was, not only is the story well written, but it's also, I think, the characters that they picked as well.
Yeah.
They took time to grow on you, but they were very, I'll give you an example. Even this is one of those rare shows where a villain is actually, he's one of my favorite characters, that Nolan, right?
Noyan.
I'm sorry, yeah. Where he picks, they couldn't have picked a better Mongoloid to pick that.
Man, not at all.
You know what I mean? And the way he plays, you that one scene where he's in the caravan scene, he comes out in the bebeginning when you get introduced to him.
Yeah.
What a cool scene, like a cool introduction to his whole evil nature, and that shaman that be around with him, walking around it was.
And the thing is, he wasn't even like evil for no reason. He wasn't even evil. He was just like, okay, if you think he's just a dude continuing on, his people's legacy. He's just trying to push forward, and as a commander, he's trying to be like he's trying to push the lines and do what he has to do, right? But of course they added a little bit of that, that evil, cheesy, I like the blood, kind of. But
so,
he was cool.
What got you into doing this? So as you were watching these episodes, how was it like? I mean, a lot of times when I watch things that I'm looking up to, I'm not only learning from what they're doing right, but also if I was doing it, what can I do better? Because you don't want to just spit out another version of the same thing. So as you're watching this and as something's cooking in your head, could you describe that process of being inspired by the show to take whatever you learned from film school and stuff and put it into production?
So actually, interestingly enough, I'm about to graduate in December, but I've been studying software development. You know what I mean? And actually, all the crew members and cast members in my film they're all like in the doctors, trying to become doctors and nurse, pharmacists and that kind of thing. So part of the story is it was a hell of a tough thing to make, because there was a lot of commitment that needed to be done, and I had to pull in a lot of favors. But let me start from the start. So I think I must have been in like season 2 or something, right? And before I was making on the side, in the summer sometimes when I was bored, I with my phone, me and my buddies would just make some stupid films, and for the fun of it, I always had this passion to make films. And one day I was just thinking, me and my cousin are talking, the guy who got me into it, and I was like, we could, imagine us doing something like that, because we like the swords, we like the action. This was like 2 or 3 years ago, we were still like younger in our thinking. And I wasn't really thinking about writing a story to have a message. I was just thinking, man, if I have some swords and horses and with some cool costumes, I can make a cool film. And I was thinking, what? Why can't we do it? We can, this show is really popular. You can find an Ertugrul costume for $50 online. I can make a fan film, just like all these kids are making Star Wars fan films. I can do the same thing. And so, I was like, bet, why not? I went and I got the costumes online. I found them pretty cheap because now they're expensive because I guess supply and demand, right? But before,
where did you get this stuff from? I'm looking at the costumes, stuff, and I'm seeing like horses, and I'm seeing like swords. I'm like,
the set.
Yeah, the whole thing. Like,
man, I'll tell you guys everything. It's actually pretty. Anybody can do this. It's a lot. A lot of these 90% of the film majors, people in film school are just bums, bro. They can, they're just not. I don't know what they're doing in their lives. They're just wasting their parents' money. But if you want
a guy who's not even a film student is telling you guys
that's what I'm saying, bro. They're just. I don't know what they're doing with their lives, man.
Yeah.
But anyway, so here's what I did.
Yeah.
Costumes online. I just went and looked up Ertugrul costumes. I found some. This dude who I was telling him I was trying to make with every like kind of pitch. I had to do a lot of pitches. For people to help me with stuff, and I was like, with every single one, I'm like, yeah, I'm a student in film trying to make. I'm not really a film student, but I'm like, yeah, I'm a student trying to make a film. So then people would think, oh, he's a film student. Let me help him out.
Yeah. And
so they hooked me up. They gave me really, the guys in Turkey gave me a really, really nice deal, and they sent me like 4 or 5 costumes. And so that's how I got that. And I was thinking, okay, swords. What do I got to do? I contacted about 10 theaters in my area. Whether they were from schools or whether they were just like their own independent theaters. And I was like, yo, guys, film student trying to make some films. Can I borrow some swords, for a day or two? And none of them responded until finally I found like this. It's like a stunt. They do like they perform stunts, and they go like all over the world or all over like the nation, doing like stunt shows. You have like a medieval festival and they'll do like stunts. So I spoke with them and they were actually really cool about it. If anybody's listening and they're into this kind of thing, look up Ring of Steel. These guys really hooked it up and they're always very helpful with all their projects. And so they were cool about it. They hooked me up with the swords. They gave me a little bit of training here and there with my friends. And that's that. And then the horses, I contacted 50 horse stables, just emailed 50 horse stables. Only 2 responded. Okay. And then one of them, after seeing the costumes, got scared. They're like, nope. Nope.
What state is this?
Michigan.
Michigan. Okay.
Yeah. And then finally, one of them, they only responded because they needed the money. I was like, yeah, I can give you guys like 100, maybe $200, if you guys help me out.
You probably have to go like upstate Michigan to like where it's rural, right, to do this stuff.
Actually, no. So right now I'm like, I think I'm like in the south. I'm not actually near Detroit. You know where Detroit? I'm like 20 minutes from Detroit. They have some farms, not too far away from that area, and
okay.
So yeah, actually, what I found out, they were like only like 10 minutes away from my house.
Oh, not bad.
Yeah, alhamdulillah, and I've formed a relationship with them. They're very cool people, very kind people. Reynolds Riding Academy, if anybody wants to ride horses. I'm putting all these plugs now. And they hooked that up, and then the filming. When I was in high school, I had to do a capstone project, and they told me to just do it, mentor or shadow anybody in a career that you're interested in. And most people, what they did was they went. We had to like they literally put aside good amount, like 2 hours of our senior year, to go do this. And so a lot of people, what they did is they just went to like a doctor, a dentist, a lawyer, had them sign off on a piece of paper. They didn't do half the hours. But what I did was I said, all right, I'm going to make a film. I'm going to make this film. And so I looked everywhere for like a film mentor, somebody who's been doing this kind of thing for a while. A guy by the name of Matthew Mancower. He's from here, but he's originally from, Asia. But he's a cool guy. He hooked it up. He would just like kind of mentor me, give me a few tips and advices here and there. And, through him, I got some contacts for filming. So I started working with him on weddings. I'd shoot some weddings every now and then. I'd do that for like a year. And so one of the guys who was working under him, I had him bring his camera because I don't have a film camera. I don't even know how to operate a film camera. But I had the guy just come in and, he brought his camera and I would just give him some directorial instructions. And that's how we filmed everything.
Oh, so you didn't have to buy camera equipment?
No, not at all. I mean, I didn't have to buy. I didn't need to buy a lot of things. I just had to have good connections, good pitches, and people who wanted to help out. And that's
amazing because people. We've set up the studio and stuff, and we know exactly how expensive this stuff can be. People don't realize how expensive good quality lenses can be, audio, all this stuff. And so, alhamdulillah. So the guy that filmed this was actually a film student, or he was actually already postgraduate, and he was just doing it
postgraduate. His main job is he does what do they call it? He films like houses. When they film commercials for houses and then they sell them.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that kind of thing. So that's what he does. He just hooked it up. Now the hard part was getting actors, and I don't know any like Arab actors. I don't know any Turkish actors. I don't know any actors who are ready to get a sword on a horse and train and go through all that and say, how you did Allah, you know what I'm saying? And my friends didn't know that it would take a lot of work either. I just told them, guys, help me out. Let's make a cool film. And it's easy. It is very easy to inspire people to start something. It's hard to get them to keep going, especially when the project is tough.
Yeah.
Especially. And so, man, imagine this. We're training, and I only had the summer to do this. And Michigan summers I don't know how it's like in Chicago, but it's humid and hot and disgusting.
Same.
And I'm having these guys wear leather and fur and all this on top of riding horses and training and doing all these this physical activity. And so, man, they were sick of it by the time we finished. I mean, I had to really pull them to come, finish filming.
And you're not paying them?
No, not at all. So
you're just like you get to be part of a movie. And
yeah. Well, I used to give one guy a ride to school every day in high school. That's the only reason. That's the only reason he said he did this. He was like, the only reason I'm doing this is because you just give me a ride to high school.
I mean, this is all kind of funny, but at the same time, it's I think for people who are aspiring to make some content, this like should be able to tell you that, hey, if you have a will and you really want to put your effort into it, you can really get by. And in a minute, and we're going to show you like a trailer for a second part that he's doing, but this is not like just. I mean, I'll be honest. I thought you guys purchased like equipment. I thought you were like a full blown, like a media house, because the quality was excellent, right? And I can notice it because we're in the business of having to have good audio quality and good video quality, right? So
yeah, that's tough. Like, audio is tough, man.
And I can imagine it. And I think that was actually one thing that we spoke about even in private when I told you, I'm like, hey, you know what? That's the only thing I think that was the problem area. But if you don't have a whole crew with boom arms and you don't have that kind of stuff, it's very difficult to like capture good audio. Like it's all, but people here they're not going to recognize. Maybe film students might recognize what we're talking about, but in reality, this stuff is really hard to do now. But it's just inspiring to know that if you really want to do something, you can make connections, you can get stuff provided to you. So
where were you recording the audio from? The camera itself, the camera's native speaker?
My guy had a little microphone attached to the camera. No boom mic, no nothing. So that kind of sucked because, if we're filming like, a shot that's kind of far away and I'm talking, and I didn't know this before, like the first time I was kind of, I learned a lot of things as I went because I never went to a school. Yeah. If you watch the first one, at the end, I have a few lines, and the audio is very blurry. It's very muffled. Yeah. And so because of the wind, and so what I learned this time is, let me record the lines up close. You don't even have to be acting. You just got to record the lines, and then from far away, say it again with the acting, and then you can just kind of play with the audio and mix it in there.
Yeah. You just match it with the lips.
Yeah, so it's really cool because he saw the original one, and we noticed that too. But it's gonna be cool when you watch the trailer. It's gonna be so different. You'll know what I'm talking about.
Put up the first one, the old one. Here, I'll send you the link to the old one. They're each a minute long, and then put up the second one so people can really see the difference.
There's a trailer for the first one. I didn't realize that one. Okay, I just saw the full 20-minute video, so I didn't know that there was a trailer.
Oh, okay. I'll tell you. I have to tell you about that one because that one actually, man, that one was devastating. I'll tell you why in a sec.
Yeah.
Adam,
so what you could
just send me the link.
I'll send it right now. Let me get it.
Yeah. But what you can do though, Sim, is you can cancel this this screen sharing. So first of all, just click that one and stop screen. Perfect. And then
the second one I sent is the first iteration. And I have to tell you something about that. It's gonna blow you guys' mind.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so let's do the first one.
So pause this one. Oh, whoops. Oh, wait. No, just go back to the beginning. Yeah. And then, all right. So we got to share the screen, though.
All right.
So maybe separate it as a different tab. So that way you don't have to.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but while he does that, it's mind blowing because, I tell people who want to create content, if you're going to do something, just
do it.
Yeah,
exactly. Don't worry about being perfect. Don't worry about
everything can always be better. And I'll tell you 100 times, even when we have good, decent quality equipment here, we always think, hey, how can we make it better? It can be better. It can be better. We're always having that conversation. It's never going to be perfect, right? But you're always going to have an ability to do it, So he pulled it up. Awesome. So go ahead and just add it to the stream.
I'm going to remove ourselves.
And then add him to it. Okay, and then click the full screen. Yeah, that one. And now you can just go back and play. Okay, you can just play it now. There you go. actually sound.
لا يا رجال، أتيتكم بخبر من الشيوخ. علمنا أن ملك ميدا قد كشف جاسوسا. نحن ذاهبون مع الزعماء لإنقاذ أخونا منهم. لا عبدين لن ينقذوا، كذلك نذهب لإنقاذه وحدنا بالسرية.
لكن بسرية؟ نحن 4 فقط، لا يمكننا أن نفعل ذلك. أيوة الله! أكبر الله! يا الله!
So yeah, just in Arabic, سيف العدالة, I mean like the sword of justice.
So, Adham, explain to the listeners what the show was all about. The first one, the first movie that you made. What was the plot and the story and how you made it?
Okay, so the first one. Here's the thing. This was actually the first try that I made. It was the first attempt at making a film. This film, you know what I mean? The first attempt at part 1 of this Saif al-Adala little short film series that I had. This was the first time I ever made that film. This was like in 2019, no experience. You could see like, man, it was in my house. It was in my house. We had like, we have a D1, you know what I'm saying? And that kind of thing. And the actors are laughing and some of the cuts and that kind of thing. But here's the thing. We made it. It took us the whole summer. I had like about, 5 hours of footage. If I cut it down, it probably would have been like 20 minutes, something like that. And I had it all in 2 SD cards, not a drive, not anywhere safe. It was in 2 SD cards. And so I'm like, all right, we finished everything. I'm going to take a 2-week break and then I'm going to start editing because school started. I was like, okay, first 2 weeks of the semester, let me take that serious and I'll start editing. 2 weeks go by and guess what happens? I couldn't find the SD card. It was lost. It was lost. I couldn't find none of the footage. Everything was gone. And I'm looking for it for like a month and a half. And then I was like, that's it. It's gone. It was devastating because imagine working so hard on that and then everything just disappears. So, it was like I was a little upset at first. And I was like, nah, man, everything happens for a reason. I can't give up. I'm not going to let it go like this. And I called all the guys to tell everyone, guys, got lost. Sorry for losing your work, but we're going to have to do it again. You have to do it again. And it was especially hard to do it again that coming summer because this is everyone's junior year. And this is the year when everyone's really, doing internships, focused. Oh, and this was the year of Corona, the Corona summer when everybody had to stay locked down indoors.
Oh,
2019.
Yeah. Okay.
2020, summer of 2020.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. And so like everyone was locked down. It was like June, July before we can start even filming, before we can even start gathering people in a small space. And so I was thinking, all right, let me start off pretty simple and start pretty easy with the second one. I was like, that's it. I made up my mind. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do it better. I'm going to learn from the dumb mistakes I made last time. And, hopefully I can have a better product. And so after convincing everyone, which was pretty hard, especially during COVID time.
The first one.
Yeah.
By the way, you're not getting paid again.
No. Hey, remember those rides? It was for a whole year, bro. So
5 more months.
Yep. Yeah, man. It was especially harder this time because everyone's a lot busier and everything. But anyways, so the first scene, I'm thinking, all right, we're gonna start off easy, start off slow. We're gonna do the tent scene. And what I had done is I looked all over, looked everywhere for like a yurt tent. The Turkish Mongolian tents that they had in the Middle Ages. Yeah. And I somehow, to my surprise, I found like a bunch. You know what I mean? And I found one that was close by to where I'm living. It's at a park. They have I guess it's really, I didn't know this, but it's really popular these days to, at like parks to open or to build these tents and people go rent them like Airbnb.
With tiny home movements now, people are building yurts and they're building them to live in them now.
Yeah.
So, and they rent them out for Airbnbs.
Exactly. It's crazy. So it was nice. We found one and I'm like, all right, this is going to be good. We only need 4 guys. We're not breaking any COVID rules, that kind of thing. 5 guys, including the cameraman. Problem is, it's the summer, hottest time of the year, and these yurt tents get hot. I swear to God, that thing was up to 150 degrees, man. It was so. So me, I want to prep. I want to make sure everything goes smoothly. I told everybody to get here by 7, 8 p.m. when the sun goes down because I wanted to make it like a night scene. But I got there at 12 p.m. Funny thing is, they only have these things in like rural areas, okay? And when I got there, I was lost for like half an hour because there's no connection. I'm in the middle of and I'm in the middle of like this very rural area, like it's a lot of the people were these white people in the rural areas. And like I'm probably the first brown person that walks into that park, and they're like looking at me like, what the heck? And you could imagine when we started filming this, they hear like, oh, wow, this. They see like the costume. It was, but anyways, so I get there at 12. I was running. I only had 1 bar of gas. This was bad planning by me. I had 1 bar of gas. I'm there. Whatever. I'm prepping everything. I have like I have like the the Arab like decorations and that kind of thing for my house. I brought a few. I had to get permission from my mother, and she was very kind to give it to me. And so. Alhamdulillah. And so it's, I bring the stuff, I decorate the thing, and as soon as I walk into the thing, it's already hot, like 90 degrees outside. I walk into the tent, boom, a heat wave blasts into me. I'm like, what the heck? So they have a fan in there. I have that fan running as high as it could. I open all the windows. I'm trying to make sure it's at least a little bit cool by the time the boys get in. And so then me, I'm sitting there and we had the script in Arabic because my thought was, Arabic is a powerful language, and especially if you're going to be making like a film like that where people, talk with such honor and such power, English doesn't cut it, or so I thought, and so I was like, but like my Arabic Fahsa is not good. If I talk Arabic, it's a mix between Fahsa and Yemeni Arabic, you know what I mean? So it's good. I speak all right. I can communicate. I'm actually, I'd say proficient, but in terms of making a medieval film, they don't have Yemeni dialect. So,
well, and not just you, but the other actors too. They have to
actually, there's like non-Arab actors that were there, right? Like I see.
Yeah, there was, but those guys didn't have any lines. They're just standing.
Sit down and shut up.
yeah. But like, actually, my friends.
You got it. Like, you're not speaking today.
Yeah. But most of my friends. Oh, and a stupid decision. I mean, it was experimental, but I kind of made it to where like. Sometimes we'd be speaking English, sometimes we'd be speaking Arabic. It was no good, but it was experimental. It was all right. Yeah. But anyways, so the tent. First thing, we're in the tent, bro. That thing's like super hot. I'm there for 12 hours. I only had 1 bottle of water. It's like, up to here. There's no water left. I'm dehydrated. My eyes are about to pop out of my skull, but I can't show that because I'm the leader here, and I have to push everybody else. And so, everyone gets there at 7 p.m., right? And like, I get them in. We're starting, and they're just there having fun. For me, it's a project. I really want to make sure it goes well, make sure it goes smoothly. They're just doing it just to help me out and for fun. And so, but I can't, like I'm like one guy though in particular was in a bad mood. He was like he had to like leave his studies. He's studying for the MCAT, and it's hot in there, and he's like wearing like all this leather. He's already grumpy, and like, man, like tensions were high, but I had to keep things calm. And so we get that thing going, we finished it. And, I made sure that everybody got their shots and their lines in first. And I would just go out last because, I can handle this. It's my thing. It's my film. I can die for this and I don't have a problem with it. But, these guys, they're like, what are they in it for? They're not even getting paid. Oh, and actually they got lost. Remember I told you there's no signal? They were lost for an hour. And apparently they pulled into some, trailer trash redneck's driveway, and the dude pulls out a shotgun. And they backed out, and the guy was like, bro, why am I doing this, bro? I was about to get shot by some redneck. What the hell am I doing?
That happened to me in Fenton, Michigan. I was driving. I ended up in the wrong driveway.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and I know exactly how that is.
Yeah, Indiana's like that too.
Yeah, like you look like you're lost, boy. I said, very lost.
It's almost like you can guarantee you pull into the wrong driveway in Indiana or Michigan, some guy's gonna walk out with a shotgun wearing a wife beater.
Like he's automatically under the assumption you're coming to rob him. Like I was just very strange. Anyways,
yeah. I don't know. It's I don't know. Maybe what's up with the Upper Peninsula, but I guess guys are like that, Yeah. That when I lived in Georgia for a year, and people were not like that. People actually were very friendly down there. So, but yeah. Anyways, so yeah, that was that. We got the tent scene done, and then all the horse scenes that I did, it was just reused. The horse scenes were the only scenes that I was able to salvage from the last time. because the guy who filmed it, uploaded it all to Google Drive for his own purposes. He wanted to use just to showcase.
Okay.
Yeah, they make like a highlight. So I was lucky in that regard. Having to do the horses again, alhamdulillah, man, it would have been tough. And then what did we do after that? I found a castle. There's like this medieval Renaissance festival thing that they do sometimes, and I just again speak to the guy. Hey, I'm making a film. Here's some footage. Can I?
Wait, a castle in Michigan?
Oh, they have a lot of castles in Michigan.
Really? I have no idea.
Yeah, it has some historical thing to do with the French people. I'm not sure.
Oh, really? I had no idea they had castles in Michigan.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
they have like 10 good castles in Michigan. So there was that.
You today, yeah.
Yeah, and then the last thing was was on the hottest day of the summer. Like it was recorded the hottest day of the summer. That summer was the big battle scene outside. So, and this is the one that was tough because we were there for 8 hours. Actually, the guy who owns the camera, does the filming, his parents own a big, a few acres of land, pretty big. So that's where we did like the forest thing. But again, making everybody wear like, layers of leather and fur and all this kind of thing in the hot summer and making them sword fight and do all this crazy stuff. So it was fun. It was a good time, tough. The journey, I loved it, but it was really tough. And yeah. And here's the story that I was trying to do with this one. Now let's talk about the story. The whole idea of the story was, and what back to what Sim was saying, what I wanted to do, what my kind of impact was, is this. A lot of these historic shows, when you're making a show about Ertugrul, when you're making a show about Uthman, about these guys, Ertugrul, they did a little better of a job of it, but they didn't do it. So they didn't really like focus on it because he was the main hero. He kind of planted the seeds to found it. And with Uthman, they don't do this at all. It's that underdog story, the average man, like the Rocky, when you watch Rocky, it's like, yeah, he's the everyman underdog, that kind of thing,
Like he has to answer to his father. He's got to deal with his sibling rivalry. He has to deal with all the pressure of getting married. Like,
but he's a bay. But he's already a bay. Like he's a bay's son. He already has some nobility to him. He's not like a nobody trying to become a somebody.
Yeah.
So the idea with my thing is I was trying to make it just like some young guys. They have like the fire in their hearts. They want to make a change, and they there's like this a spy they have to save who has like some info that can stop the Mongol onslaught, that kind of thing.
Right.
I wanted to make it to where like the character goes, he fights, he learns a lesson. Being like kind of too fiery, being too ambitious can burn you. But if you're smart, you can help your people and you can do good things without sacrificing others. That kind of thing.
Without being too hasty. Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to just do something like that and have some cool action scenes and that kind of thing. Now, one thing about these, like the Ertugrul, the Mehmed Bozdag shows, right? Something that a lot of these other historical shows can't do, and I don't know how they do it, but it has that kind of element of the, not in a bad way, but the superhero flick element. Like all these Marvel shows and these Star Wars shows being really popular. I don't know what it is about it, but it has that kind of aura, that kind of that feel to it that other shows don't have. You know what I mean? And they do it in a good way because Muslims, we're not gonna like watch a Muslim superhero flick and kind of relate to that, because in Islam you can't really have that either way, and also we're not gonna find a Arab superhero or Muslim superhero and be like, oh yeah, that's my guy.
Unless it's Captain Majid, then maybe. Unless it's Captain Majid, then maybe.
There's an exception there. But like the closest that our people can get to that is like these historical figures that we can be proud of, and that's what I like about that show. Is they stick to
speaking of that real quick though, that's why just before this, the most I think hyped up series that I watched was probably the Omar series, and I was like, okay, this is actually one thing that was done halfway decent. Like I'm like, yeah, but I actually liked it. Okay, so I'm not gonna lie, I liked it, but now comparing it to Ertugrul, it was like, man, I went back and watched some parts of the Omar series. And don't get me wrong, I like the dialogue, which was nice, but just the production quality was just not up to par.
Yeah.
Audio was up to par. The storyline, it just was not like on the level of Ertugrul. And I heard one non-Muslim critic make a review of it, and he says, I think the most appropriate thing, this is the Turkish version of Game of Thrones. And I think that really sums it up. Like, I mean, the amount of quality, the props, the storyline, the intensity, all that goes into the show is literally like the Muslim version for Game of Thrones. And I think that that was what resonated with people. And I'll be honest, like I watched, I tried to get into Kurulus Usman, like the next one, and I mean, people tell me season 2 is better than one, but I haven't got all the way into it. For me, I like that other the Seljuk one a little bit better than the Usman one.
Yeah, the Buyuk one. I couldn't watch it, man. I tried to, but I just couldn't.
Yeah,
I like Usman a lot. I like it a lot. I think it's
oh really?
Yeah, I think it hits everything very well. I know it's received a lot of criticism, but I think that's
I'll have to watch season 2 maybe because I feel like the problem though is that with Ertugrul, like the main leader, he kind of fit that role so well. I didn't feel that with the Usman character. Not in the beginning.
First season, I can agree, but the second season, if you watch the first episode of the second season, it's gonna change your whole outlook to it because that first episode, it wasn't produced like your regular Ertugrul Ottoman episode. It was produced like a movie, like the cinematography.
Wow.
They made it really, really good, and man, you can literally just take that first episode and show it to anybody, and you don't have to let them watch any other Ottoman Ertugrul show ever because that episode is that good. It's a standalone. After that, it gets back to normal, but the Ottoman gets a little better. I know the actor there's a lot of backlash, and I think it's tough. After a guy like Engin, whatever his name is, it's hard to like kind of find a replacement. But no, in the second season, it's better, a lot better.
So talk about this real quick though. So how did this get in the hands of like in a Turkish like film festival? How did this happen? Like how did they recognize you?
So I just so actually TRT contacted me, the production studio of Ertugrul, right? And they wanted to do an interview with me and everything. And this was before I lost the film. And like I was like happy, I was excited. I was like, yeah, let me just finish the film and let's do the interview. We can put some clips and stuff. Then I lost everything, and I was like, hey guys, can we do it next year? And they never contacted me after that. they were actually down to do the interview without the footage, but I was adamant about. I told them, guys, please, just give me a year. I want to make this again, then we can do that. Because I didn't want to interview about something that I lost or something I didn't complete.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I had the trailer up already, and that's kind of what got the TRT's attention. But also at the same time, by the time I finished that second try of the film, the Mehmet Bozdag and their crew went to another production studio, ATV. So before they were with TRT, which is a government, more like a government kind of production studio they have in Turkey, and then they went to ATV, which is more like on the entertainment side. So yeah, which is why in the Kuruluş Osman you see a little bit more leniency with like the romance scenes, but they never push the envelope too badly. Like it's still family friendly. But with TRT, a lot of criticism, and I listened to your Sim and what's his name? Dili Hussein. I listened to your guys' like little discussion about the show and that kind of thing, and how he was really criticizing a lot of this government kind of propaganda. I don't know what. Yeah, of course, there's a little bit of a layer, but I think that's fine. I think a lot of I think the stuff they were pushing, like the modesty and the tradition and that kind of thing.
You mean like
all the virtues? Yeah. Dili was critical of that, but to me, like the net positive is so far greater.
Yep.
Being associated with the government sponsored productions.
Yeah, because you know what it is. Like most people will benefit from the positive values being reinforced.
Yeah.
On a societal level. Yeah. Than politics will.
Well, also looking for problems at that point.
Are you compromising any Islamic values? Is what I look at first. Yeah. And if you're not compromising Islam at all, then you can look at the benefit. It's when people say, "Oh, they use this argument where for the greater benefit for the maslaha, I'm gonna not pray, or I'm gonna do something haram for the greater benefit." That's basically illegitimate, And illegitimate.
If you want to talk about something that's even more beneficial, think about this. This show really, and another reason why it was so popular is it really acted as a parable to the situations going on in the modern world, right? And the people who love the show more than anybody, are the Kashmiris, the Palastinis, the people who are in oppression, who can really, like, you and I, we can relate because, our home countries are not so well and everything like that, but we're not really in those situations. We're not in those countries. We're not under that oppression. And we're not I think it benefits two sides. The Western world, the Muslims in the Western world, the people who never really had a chance to connect to their kind of culture, their traditions, their values, who've always been told that they're kind of, through the media, their things are backward. You watch that and you're like, oh my gosh, in all these like Western media, you see like the kids, them and the parents fighting, them and the brothers fighting, it's always that individual. It's always the
Lack of respect, like just
yeah, be cool. This kind of thing.
insolence, right?
And that's so against what we believe and what we do, what our parents teach us, right? But then we watch this show and we're like, you see, we don't kiss our parents in the hand, but we kiss our parents in the forehead, right? When we greet them, that kind of thing. The Jum'ah, Friday prayer with your brothers, the unity, the strength you get from Islam. Habib was a very good example of this too. And it's they kind of came in at the same time. They kind of got popular at the same time. But on the Western side, it lifted a lot of people's heads on their culture, their identity, and it made them feel like a stronger people. And helped a lot of people with their deen too. Be more connected to their deen, right? On the Eastern side, it gave people hope, and it gave people a lot of hope. It showed people that if you it's not saying go out and fight and try to fight the whole world and make it turn. No, be strong, be a strong Muslim. That's what I like most about it. People get the wrong idea. Like, being a strong Muslim is, yes, you should be able to defend yourself and be able to do all these things, but being a strong Muslim is having those good values, being a productive member of society, being strong in your heart and your will and that kind of thing. And for like these guys under oppression, being strong in your iman and that never giving up hope, no matter how bad the situation is, everything is by the hand of Allah. You know what I mean? And so that's it just did a lot of good things. This guy Muhammad Bozdak who wrote it. Yeah, this guy Muhammad Bozdak who wrote it is gonna get a lot of. I believe he's gonna get a lot of hasanat.
Inshallah. So how did you get in the film festival in Turkey?
Oh yeah, so I applied to like thousands of film festivals. A lot of them like rejected and a lot of rejections, but this one in Turkey, they saw it and I won like 3 awards. It's just there's like a website, a website that streamlines it. They sent me an invitation to go to their festival because I had won some competition and that kind of thing. I won some awards, and what they do is they invite people all over the world who win these awards, and they watch the thing and they communicate, and then they have like one more competition within the festival. And I think I won an award in that last round competition too, but no, I didn't go because it was during COVID. It was when things were starting to lighten up a little bit, so travel restrictions were not so bad. But I have family and that kind of thing. Take care of my grandparents, and our family is very interconnected, and everyone's like kind of being careful. So I don't care. I'm not gonna go for an award to get my family sick.
Yeah. So maybe what we can do now is, if you want to show the second one,
sure.
See the difference. So let's take a look at that. So you probably gotta stop sharing this one. And then remember not to remove us from the stream. We won't have on.
He likes the film so good, he doesn't want any distractions.
Yeah. You got to study it very closely.
Yeah.
Sword of justice, right?
I know. No, you have to. No. Is that the right one?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I wasn't sure. Okay. I just want to make sure it's right. I didn't know what tab.
No, he's a big fan.
You have very little faith in me, more.
What can I say?
Hey, how do you guys like that title, Ertugrul Ghazi? I'm trying to capitalize on the Indian and Pakistani.
Oh yeah,
I like it. Yeah.
I'm surprised you even know that.
Here we go.
Ooh, fancy.
Fancy schmancy.
This reminds me of Jeddah from Star Wars.
المخولين المسيطرين علينا. قلمنا بالجاسوس أنا ضول.
I recognize that.
محمل مفاتيح مستقبل. ماذا لو قدتم إلينا فرصة للتخلص من الخانة الجاثم فوق صدورنا؟
سوف تدفعون الثمن. المخاطرة بحياتنا وحياة الأبرياء.
إذا واجبنا نموت مرفوعين لسوسا.
Our men have intercepted information of a spy heading this way en route to Anatolia. We are to capture the spy who infiltrated the Mongol barbarians, and with that information, not only will we secure our borders, we can expand upon them.
I'm ready to bring honor and victory to my name. I am ready for war.
So this is the trailer for the actual movie, the one not the part 2. So what I want,
this is the second attempt, the trailer to the second attempt that was finally completed, the one where I didn't lose the footage and I made the film.
So what I want to do is real quick. Can you just quickly link him to the second one that you're actually doing now, not the
Oh, okay. I don't have a trailer to that one.
There was one on Instagram, wasn't there?
I can show you a clip. I have a clip.
Don't beat yourself up too much over losing the footage. A lot of times,
only footage. He loses his mind. So it's okay. Don't worry about it.
You know what happened once? The first time when we were new to this podcast, we had our first big guest. It was Yasser Qadi. It was at the hotel room. We were all excited. We were getting Yasser Qadi on the show. He's meeting us in person, bro. Yeah. We did the tests and everything went great. And something happened, and we started the recording.
First time ever.
First time ever.
Yeah.
So we ended up taking the footage home, and then I started playing it, and all of a sudden it's like the sound is coming from a distance. And I realized what happened like much later. I'm like, I thought it was like someone's phone interfering, but what had happened was that it picked up the Audacity or whatever. Mm-hmm. So the default recording option was set on the laptop speakers, So instead of taking the actual microphone, the mixer's settings, it's defaulting to the laptop settings. So the entire audio was junk, and it was embarrassing. And it was right when like Mad Mamluks were hitting we're ascending. A lot of noise was being made, a lot of buzz, and it was incredibly embarrassing releasing crap audio like that, because we were back then we were only audio. So
when did you guys start, by the way? When did you guys, like 2014?
Almost 5 years now.
It's almost 5 years.
Oh, okay.
4.5 years ago.
Yeah.
So like about 2015, something like that.
Yeah.
See, I started listening, I think like in 2018, and this was when you guys were only audio, right?
Yeah.
And man, the way I got introduced to you guys, I don't remember how, but I on my commute to school, work, I don't really like to listen to like these senseless rap music, that kind of thing.
We usually like to attract listeners with pretty girls. No, we don't. I joke.
Nah, I know. But I one day I was just looking for some kind of. I was looking for exactly what you guys offered. Some Muslims, living here who talk to a lot of people, get a lot of insight, and and yeah, I just started listening and I just got into it, and you guys seem pretty cool. So, yeah, mashallah.
Awesome. So Sim, I sent you the 15-second clip that's on Instagram that you put up. Can you pull that up on I sent it to your WhatsApp, so if you can pull.
But anyway, yeah. So losing the footage, there's a lesson to be learned. I still haven't learned my lesson from that yet. I'm still trying to figure out what Allah wanted me to learn from that, because I was really upset about it.
Yeah.
But
but you're right. It was a blessing in disguise. It was a blessing in disguise, because look what we did. You know what I mean? Yeah. We learned from it. We retried it, and we made something a lot better than I ever thought I could ever make. So.
That's awesome.
And I think for me at least, the lesson was that because we actually ended up doing other episodes that received more views, just initial views, because people didn't know the audio was bad when we released it, just saw the person, and the initial response wasn't as high as we thought it was going to be. We thought this was going to be the one that's going to make us, like, we're going to be known everywhere now. We got a big name on there.
Yeah.
It just didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Right. And we had other
and
people.
Subsequently, we thought, maybe it's just him. I mean, of course, that's why he's huge. But I thought, maybe our listeners don't like his persuasion or whatever. So then we got different people's persuasion, like major scholars. And we're like, people don't really care.
Yeah. And I think we learned that it's more about you as a content creator and if people gravitate towards you or not, regardless.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Right. Because you can have. No, I was going to say you can have. I mean, a good content creator and a good host can make any guest, even no matter how boring they are. In most cases, they can make the show entertaining. And I think that was what we learned from this, because we had a show with some no-name guy who was just a historian, like an amateur historian, and we had a great episode with him. I was talking about Harun's brother, right? Like, I mean, but it ended up being, I think, more views than he got on the Yasha Qadi view.
Yeah,
just because the content was interesting.
Yeah, remember the Mamluks versus the Mongols episode?
That's what I meant. Yeah. And it was just so much better, and it was entertaining for us. It was more engaging for us, and I think we learned that lesson that it doesn't really matter. I mean, sure, it might bring some initial views, but longevity-wise, people won't ever be like, "Oh, that's my favorite episode," because what we realized is people of that caliber tend to have more reservations, right? They tend to. Hey, can you pull that up, by the way?
Yeah. Which one?
But I put it in your WhatsApp.
Oh.
Yeah, while I'm doing the background, go ahead. I'm just want to, but anyways, but people of that persuasion, like of that caliber, they have to be kind of reserved, right? They have to answer to a certain amount of people. They have to, keep a certain composure. And as candid and goofy as we are, that's hard sometimes, right? Like we had,
but that's what makes it appealing. That's what makes it appealing. The audio is loud on that one. The audio is very loud on that. Yeah, but that's what makes you guys appealing. It's like I'm when I'm listening, it's like I'm there with you guys.
Yeah,
and not only that, it's a good discussion. Those really good, nice, casual discussions you get when you're at a bonfire, but you get something out of it. It's like that. So
I'll be honest, that is exactly what we thought about when we created the show. We're like, we used to have these conversations in Sim's basement, and like this is literally how the idea was born, right? Like, hey. I forgot who it was. I wasn't there when it happened, but someone was telling you guys should record these things, and just share the content. And it just ended up being, and that's kind of been our whole theme, I guess, the candidness. Like we're just gonna speak to you like we're in a D1, like having shy or whatever.
Yeah, there you go. And one of these days, you guys come over to my D1. We'll have a nice podcast.
Yeah, inshallah. I get some shy Adhani, I'll be okay.
Shy Adhani, you already know, boy. But I have to tell you guys something that I really like. Something I really envy, out of you guys is your guys' close relationship and that you guys had for all these years. You know what I mean? And that really shows and resonates when you're listening. It's like, man, I really feel part of a squad, because for me, I didn't live in like one place all my life. Because of my father's job, we traveled a lot overseas. So I was in Yemen, for like I'd be in Yemen for a year, and then I'd be in Indonesia for a year, then Qatar for a year. Then
wait, so what part of Yemen do you come from?
I come from I'm not sure.
You're from the Shimal, like what are you, north or south?
I'm actually right in the middle. Radae, right in the middle. You look it up in a map, like right in the middle.
So you like by Al Bayda?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That used to be part of Janub, just so you know. So it just,
okay.
It used to be part of the Kathiri. I think it used to be part of that empire. But yeah. Okay, that makes sense. So I know exactly where you're from now. So you used to go in and out of. Your dad would go back to Yemen. Like what was like? He would work here, collect some money, and then go back, and then just hang out, and then come back here.
No. So he was he works as a oil. He worked in an oil company, and that's why we did a lot of traveling assignments, like the military. So. One year I'd be in Indonesia. Actually, so I was in Indonesia for like 3 years, and then Yemen for like 2 years, and then went to Qatar for a year, and then Pakistan for a year, and back to Yemen, for a project, and back to Indonesia for a year for a project, and then. But eventually, when I got to high school, we had to come here and settle. And I have a really cool story for you guys, actually.
Yeah.
So why did we come to Michigan? So first, when I came back we were in Arizona because half of our family was in Arizona, but then. After I finished my first year of high school, everyone went back to Michigan. And so, we kind of followed suit. Why are we going to stay in Arizona by ourselves? But why are a lot of Arabs in Michigan? A lot of Arabs are in Michigan is because of the whole Ford thing. They did the job.
Yeah, they were immigrated. When they immigrated, they worked for Ford auto industry. That's why they were in Youngstown too for a while.
Exactly. Yeah. But how did we get here is totally different story. So my grandfather, he was, we were like they were like, I know my village, I know people from my village. I know the whole kind of people outside. Like we are very connected with our village. But so our grandfather had a farm there, and times were kind of rough. And so what him and his boys would do is they would they'd go to Djibouti to make money. It's like close to Yemen,
Yeah.
And so they would go there, make some money, go back. They'd sneak on a ship though. They didn't have any, permits. So they'd sneak on a ship, go there, make some money, come back. Okay. And then they were doing this in the 60s, 70s, right? And so one day they hopped on the wrong ship They hopped on this French ship who were collecting soldiers from Africa to fight in Vietnam, because that was during the Vietnam War. And who were fighting first were the French. And so they got on the wrong ship. They had to fight with them. And
yeah,
so they
and they ended up fighting in Vietnam, huh?
Yeah, they fought in Vietnam with the French until the
like
Americans
50s,
came.
Actually, this is probably in the 50s, actually.
Yeah, but they fought until the Americans came, and so when they fought with the Americans, and then when the Americans finished the war, they're like, "Yeah, come through, whatever. You fought with us, you can come to America." And so,
actually, I was going to say that a lot of people don't realize this, but there were Yemenis that were here because they came from Vietnam, and some of them even fought in World War II. Actually,
really, I didn't know about that.
Yeah, some of them was
a unique story.
And they went to Youngstown, and actually, my uncle in New York City knew some of them because he was here back in the early, late 50s, early 60s. So he met them, but they were very early on, and some of them were here from World War II days, where they got citizenship by fighting in World War II. But
yeah, exactly.
When people say, "Oh, there's Yemenis in Vietnam," people are like, "What are you talking about?" Like, yes, there are Yemenis in Vietnam.
That would be a good movie to make, man. I'm definitely gonna write the script to that one.
Actually, what's crazy is there are Yemenis now in Korea. You know that?
Okay. You know that one dude? You know that one dude in my film, the Mongol guy, the big one?
Yeah.
That guy is my he's related, their family is very close to our family, and but his father is Yemeni, his mother is Korean.
Oh,
so that's why
it reminds me of those Jawi in Jeddah, you'll find half Indonesian, half Yemeni.
Yeah. SubhanAllah, man, you don't think about even back in the days, Yemen was one of the biggest trade places ever during the Sheba days or something. That's why you have all these spices there. That's why you have those nice olden buildings. That's why if you go to Yemen, you're gonna find people who look, like Turks. You're gonna find people who look like Indonesians. People look like Indians. People look like Africans.
I mean that's story of my family. They went to India and they settled in Hyderabad, and that's where they lived for long. Even now to this day, we have 200,000 Hadaram in an area called Barkas. They live there. I think it's out of Indonesia. There's the second highest population of them. I mean, outside the Arab continents. The Arabian subcontinent is or the Arabian area, the Gulf. I'm sorry, is in Indonesia and then India. And I think after that, then it was Vietnam. I think someplace, and then.
Everywhere.
I think the thing about
I just want to see Vietnamese Yemenis.
They look like Indonesian Yemenis.
I want to wear with the hat, the cone shaped hat that the Viets wear.
The farming. No, but you know what though? There's a hat that
I'm trying to imagine you two wearing it.
No, but there's a hat that Hadrami women wear when they're farmers. Do you know that straw hat they wear? I don't know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's similar to that one, but it's not a cone. No, but the thing is this though. I think that's the one. I think when I tell people about this is that's one thing unique I think I've noticed about Yemenis is that they are very willing to marry out and adopt kind of other cultures as well too. They're not as strict, meaning in terms of we have to marry within your own. You have to. I mean, I think the men went out.
Yeah, other Arabs are very they have a lot of pride about their culture, how they're.
It's not the pride. It's just that they're just very closed. Where I think especially the Hadaram, they tend to be more accepting and being, hey, you know what, we're gonna be who we are no matter what. We're gonna marry outside, and they actually paid them. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think Yemen is still very much like that. I think there's just a few cases where they're very open, but. For the most part, similar to the other Arabs back then. I too feel the same way. That be prideful and you want to marry within your own but then again at the same time, if you look back into it, Yemen is very very diverse. Genetically, it's very genetically diverse.
I think the South is compared to the North. The North, and I think that's one of the sometimes the criticisms that people the Northerners say about the Southerners, they're not really Yemen.
I'll tell you what. It's for some reason, like you said, the North. There's certain cities, but I think the main cities like Sana'a, and this is something that happened very recently, in the 70s, 60s, and this happened to all the Arabs. The reason why I feel Arabs at the moment are kind of stagnating, not progressing, kind of backwards is I don't know what happened, but if you ask your father and your grandparents, and I asked my father, grandparents, and we asked them about the village and how people were not so closed and scared. And if you guys and girls would mingle and talk normal, not any pushing bad or not unmodest, but could be friends, and people were just very more friendly and open. And I'm not saying I don't like being too open. I don't think that's good, but I mean in a practical sense,
normal, right? It's being
normal, being normal. back in like those days, but like something happened in the 70s, 60s.
I think I know
made
what it is.
everybody clothes, wearing the burqas, and made like everything so restricted, and if a woman drives, it looked bad. And
I think I know what it was. What happened was is that you have to understand that when Gamal Abdel Nasser came, this hyper nationalism, it made people who were traditional, it made them fearful of, hey, what's this change that's coming?
Pan-Arabism.
The Pan-Arabism that came out was something, because if you remember, Malik Faisal was trying to do Pan-Islamism. He was going in Africa, he was going other places trying to do that. And Gamal Abdel Nasser said, no, we're going to do Pan-Arabism. And so that's why even till now, Yemen was affected by that, right? Where Yemen has that red, white, and black flag, right? The colors of Syria and Egypt and other in Iraq, because the whole Ba'athist movement, right? Was just or the Arab socialist movement. And I think people in reaction to that were like, no, we have to close our, we have to be more conservative, because remember, you had people like Gamal Abdel Nasser that were on TV that were, mocking hijab, So, and they were like mocking, people like, and the Ikhwan came in, they spread the idea that, hey, you have to protect your culture, because these people, they're liberals. They want to just completely destroy what your identity is.
Which is what happened now. Which
is
pretty much what's happening right now. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So I think because of that, this is a reaction to that movement, right? That, oh my God, what's happening? We need to protect our children. And so, and I think what's happening now, this liberalism is a reaction to this extreme closed-minded.
Yeah, agreed.
Right?
When you push somebody down, you push them too much. Once they have the chance, they're going to go the opposite way.
Right.
Like Saudi, for example.
Exactly. 100%.
In Yemen, it's like more people are more voluntarily wanting to keep tradition and be modest and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You have like small pockets of people who are trying to experiment and kind of. But it's fine, it's I actually people want to experiment, they want to go see if, and then when you do that, you realize, oh man, our ways are better.
As long as it's not like fahish, like they're not like trying to do it like open, like look, people are going to grow up and there's going to be differences, right? People are going to dress differently, but we have certain limits, right? But you can't force people. If the minute you force people, the slightest opportunity they get to
and to bring this all back, full circle. Look at the show like Ertugrul or Habib. That made people want to be more traditional, to be more.
He didn't force other people, but he was very strict in his own values. He said, "This is how I believe. I'm gonna maintain my. I don't expect you to do what I do, but I'm gonna be who I am." And I think leading by example is what we talk about all the time, right? Like, be men of action. Like, just don't. It's easy to sit here and preach and yell at people and say, hey, you know what, do this, do that. But that's not how you motivate people. It never was. In Islam, people saw the actions of the khulafa or the sahaba or the ulama or the umara, and they behaved that way. And they wanted to emanate, or mimic that, essentially, yeah.
Look at Rasulullah. No other person in history, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, no other person in history has had a struggle that hard, has gone through such trials and tribulations, has ever led by example more than our Prophet by himself.
Yeah.
And so if you just take that example, and if you want to lead a people, take that example. You know what I mean? Take the example of your Prophet who led the whole ummah, and that's a problem. Another problem is a lot of these days, a lot of the power is going to weak people. People who would not stand up and face any kind of adversity. That's a big problem. That's just, I don't know what it is about these days, but hopefully we get strong leaders soon.
Yeah, inshallah. But I think Sim finally cued the clip.
Let's before we wrap things up,
I want you to see the difference between this and like the new one. And so
okay.
Let's cue it up, buddy.
All right, here we go.
The quality is a lot better, but on Instagram they killed the quality. But you're gonna still see some difference.
Yeah.
Hadi bismillah.
Hadi bismillah.
All right, here we go.
Hit play, buddy. That's it. That's a little snip, but
those Mongols, man, they made the Mongols pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just gonna say, like, when you watch our Instagram, we're gonna plug all the stuff in on Instagram and on the YouTube link. But you'll notice immediately the difference in sound quality and like I even think video quality was a little bit different. You could have maybe done some other stuff in post, but I'm looking forward to the second part of it. Inshallah, when do you plan to have that done?
I gotta say, man, remember what I told you last time was hard because it was during the year in the summer and everything? This time is even harder than that because, firstly, I'm trying to be a little bit more ambitious with everything. As you saw, I want to make things much more better quality, that kind of thing. I even replaced some actors. Because
you're already firing people?
yeah, these guys working me for free, man. They just
already act like a baby.
No, it's just that remember that the guy who's supposed to be the trader, he's on his way to becoming a doctor, doing rotations. He just doesn't have time for that.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Are you looking for help though? Like, if people in Michigan listening and they want to help out, I mean,
I would love that, especially actors and that kind of help and that kind of thing. But it's just hard because even me myself, I'm already I'm working a full time as a software developer intern with a company, and when I graduate, they're gonna give me a job. So
I think me and Mort would like some guest roles. We don't want to
come through. I need a base, man.
We thought you would offer, but no, I'm just gonna put myself out there.
This is gonna be Sim's entry.
Come on, bro. I got the ring ready. Come on.
Oh yeah, I see it, man. Hey,
he's been practicing his bow skills.
Yeah, I'm in archery.
Yeah, so he could be like Sultan Shah. He could just sit there.
In Yemen, you probably know it. Adham.
Yeah. I have Mongol lineage though. So yeah, I did an ancestry.com thing.
Yeah.
And it showed me that I'm like 8% Mongol.
Wow.
Okay.
Are you proud of that?
Oh yeah.
Should I call you Holagu now?
I don't know. I want to be.
Hey, we're gonna make him Murshad Noyan.
Yeah.
I want to be Barki.
Barka Khan.
Oh, Barka Khan. Okay. Yeah.
We'll make you Barka Khan.
If you're down, I'm down.
Barki is the one who helps everyone.
Yeah, Barka Khan. Yeah. I mean, so yes, and what I would say is that I'm okay with waiting. I mean, because I think people even realize that even these full shows, they take a whole year with full production quality and with whole teams. So, I mean, I'm excited. I think the experience you got from the last one you put out is really you're gonna learn from that. You probably have already. You're gonna see the new techniques put into the new sequel, I think.
Also, you might want to get in touch with like a professional like screenwriter like Kamran Pasha, who we've had on the podcast. You ever hear of Kamran Pasha?
I've actually spoken to him. After listening to you guys on the podcast, I got in touch with him, and he gave me a lot of advice and tips. And
he's a sweetheart, right? He's
awesome, man. He's awesome.
He's
man.
just a sweetie. I love him.
He likes some funny stuff on Twitter sometimes, though. But he's a cool guy.
Yeah. He's a wild guy. I love it. He's got great. Just check out his recent couple Facebook posts.
Okay.
He put some great thoughts of his related to working with TRT, or not necessarily TRT, but another Gulf state who was trying to fund his production, and he was trying to make a, as I understand it, he was trying to make a movie about Muawiyah. And he told them like, hey, look, this is a very controversial subject. Lots of passions get stirred. This is not going to sit well with different demographics, and it can't happen without Ali being part of this movie. You can't. They're both almost protagonists, antagonists, or in certain ways, So basically, they, in the middle of all that work that was being done, they wanted Ali to be removed, and basically it blew up. The whole thing.
I think if I was going to do it, I think I would have done it. I would have made the life of Muawiyah, but then all the way up to the time of Ali, and then like see how that did, and then when they saw like the money pouring,
we'll get Kamran on the show, and he'll talk about it. Hopefully, inshallah.
Yeah, we'll do that. But yeah, I mean, so just real quickly, do you have plans besides? I mean, I know you're getting into software development and all this stuff, but do you have plans to do other things besides just like these fan films? Like, because we talked about this a little bit offline too. Maybe we can briefly touch on that before we kind of close this one out. But as far as like representation of Muslims and Muslims in media and stuff like that, having identity crises and things like that. Like, and one of the things that we talk about all the time is being able to be confidently and proudly Muslims, in public platforms, whether we're speaking about Islam or representing ourselves, including things like, in entertainment. So do you plan to do anything like? Are you planning to shift maybe a little bit to a different direction, or always just do fan films, or what's your
No,
here?
here's my idea. I mean, it's very hard to to predict what's in the future because with everything. But my plan, my hope is this. I have a lot of ideas. I mean, I really want to firstly make a like that movie Boys in the Hood. Like they have like they have like all these kind of. And here's the thing. This is really important. All the the immigrant Americans, the Italian Americans, they have like Goodfellas and that kind of thing. The African Americans, they have like Goodfellas and that kind of thing. The Mexicans, they have like and like they like in the media, they have like these things that they can connect culturally, and that people when their future generations, that kind of thing, look to, and they're like, yeah, that's us, right? I'm really if I ever could, I'd love to contribute or make like an everyday every person film that can show us in that light, but at the same time make people proud of like similar to Ertugrul does, make people proud. But I want to make an everyday film, not like some super action film, like some kind of like one of those like Boys in the Hood kind
Make
of
a biography movie about the Mad Mamluks.
Yeah, there you go, man. Mad Mamluks, the origin stuff. No, but like like a film.
You know that, right, Adham?
What?
I grew up in the hood.
I hear stories. I hear stories all the time. You always talk about
I think it's like okay, so the hood I grew up in, it's so like disreputable to the true hood, that you hear about in like in the hood and stuff, because it was like a gang infested area where there were like drive-bys and everything, but it was in the suburbs.
Shabab in the hood.
So people say like, I knew you my whole life, Sim. I didn't know you didn't live in no hood. I'm like, yeah, I did. Remember that place? Like, oh yeah, that was the hood. It got so bad over there that they had to put a police station on the street.
That happened in Brandywine too. I remember when they had to move. They have a mobile sheriff unit. So they have like bodies popping up, and my mom was like, "Okay, we're gonna leave this neighborhood after like 13 years. We're gonna leave here." But I mean, excuse me. But yeah, I mean, I think it'd be a great idea. I mean, inshallah. Yeah. I think there needs to be. I think what you're talking about is a movie that kind of highlights the.
Like any American Arab can relate to, you know what I mean? And
the American Muslim experience.
American Muslim,
right?
Exactly.
Like that would
Boys
be like
Shabab in the mosque.
Yeah,
not like here's the thing though. Here's the thing that's kind of dangerous is there a lot of the guys on that like super left liberal side are the really powerful ones who have like those media connections who are able to make shows like bad shows like Rami, and there's like a new one that's coming out, something about like this rock star female.
Yeah, it's just trash, bro. It's garbage.
Exactly. And they're just trying to. All they're doing, and I have a problem with this. All they're doing is they're really kind of.
They're capitalizing off the identity of Muslims, but they're not actually showing what Muslims are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're just capitalizing on the demographic. That look at this minority over here. This is what's happening in their inner circles. You know what I mean?
And they're trying to make the sad stories. It's disgusting. They're trying to make like I feel bad for me because I don't know this and that. Bruh,
because of Islamophobia.
Exactly. You gotta show.
No, what was the other show in Michigan they did with it? They wanted to show a cross section of like Muslims, and they went to Michigan. They found the most liberal Shiite family.
Oh man, yeah.
And it was the most trashy family in the world. Like,
here's the thing. We're not like on the left or the right. We're like in the middle. We're moderate. You know what I mean? And that's what's and like you gotta make something like that and show and make people feel prideful of who you are. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And I mean that's one thing that you could do within your own sub stories or even mini episodes that you do. Maybe make it relatable to like Muslims in the West, or maybe just younger Muslims. Having like a side story, you remember like you talked about like playing The Witcher and stuff like that. They have like subplots within the main storyline, right?
Yeah.
So if you have like even episodes within the main Ertugrul storyline where there's like some mission that needs to be accomplished for the main character Ertugrul, or Usman or whoever that to accomplish their task, that could be even like a mini webisode type series that you can even relate to young people in some ways. It creates some story around it. And I know it's a lot of work, but I'm just putting out ideas.
I think what he's talking about though is making something a little bit more modernly culturally relevant. Like what people today. But what I would say though is something that I would say that and this is something I always thought about doing, and I want someone to take. I don't want any credit for anything, but
we can work together.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, but mine is more of a idea I had that, when 9/11 happened,
Yeah.
a lot of the Muslims had to just kind of hold their tongue,
Yeah.
take all the nonsense that was coming to them. They couldn't speak too much or too less. Like, it was just you to juggle that, like to be worried about being on a no-fly list, being screened. I think now a lot of that is going away because of the fact that they're highlighting some of that stuff. But I want to do something like maybe like something like 30 years after 9/11. Like, I mean, you know how it is like now.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Reflect back on it, and everyone like from our generation just talks about like some of the challenges that happened, like how you had to change your behavior, how you had to just progress and like, or like just display yourself differently, move differently, and talk about because we always hear about the traumatic effect of it on the non-Muslim. We never hear about the traumatic effect of it on the Muslims themselves, the community.
It's even worse on them. Yeah.
And like it literally caused people to be confused in their identity, lose their spirituality, lose their families. I mean, like lose friendships, like stuff that people don't recognize. And like here we hear all these stories about how so many people purchased the Quran, they came to Islam, but then at one hand, in our own communities, we're finding people moving away from Islam or being shy about Islam.
Unbelievable, yeah.
Right? Or you have one, so we never hear about those stories. We heard about the other story, right? Which is great because we wanted to kind of positively reinforce, find the silver lining. But I think now, like 20, 30 years later, it's a good time to reflect on that and bring back and say, man, that was a wild time. Like we were just thriving. Like we were just trying to keep head above water here.
See, I really want to finish this. I really want to finish what I'm doing because what I'm doing is just so much work and so hard that like making a everyday block around the film would be so easy, bro. Like making and I can focus on the story rather than focusing on all this aesthetic and horses and fighting. Oh man, I know one thing is I'm done being an actor in my own film. I'm never doing that again.
Yes, you're like that guy Kurt. What's his name? Kurt Russell from Sons of Anarchy. He plays like a very minimal role. Kurt.
Kurt.
What's his name, man?
Yeah, I know.
I forget. But the creator of Sons of Anarchy, he plays like a very limited role. He plays a guy named Otto. Kirk Sutter, yes. He plays very once in a while he pulls in, but he has the most badass roles. Like
amazing role.
But you got to make yourself look cool, I guess.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for joining us this evening, Adam. We're going to make sure we keep in touch with you. Make sure you tell our listeners how they can reach out to you. What's your Twitter handle or IG?
Sure. I have Instagram, YouTube, Radae Prods. RADAE Prods, PRODS. One word. You guys can find it in the link below. Okay. But if you just look up Ertugrul fan film on YouTube, you're gonna find everything you need.
Sweet.
Yeah, I need that view. I need that view count to go up.
Yeah, inshallah, we'll do that.
I'm trying to make 5 cents, at least off this film. I gotta pay my actor something.
Yeah, pay them a die. It'd be good. No, but a pleasure to have you, man. We're gonna plug everything in the description, inshallah, when the episodes are uploaded. But always, again, thank you for accommodating us and thank you for being patient with the whole scheduling. Anytime you're in Chicago, we welcome you. We'll have some Mendy, some Hanid.
Awesome.
We'll sit down, we'll relax, we'll chop it up, inshallah.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you guys so much for having me. I'd love to come on and be part of more shows, just to chill with you guys. And I'll talk to you more about this film idea and the Sim. You got to be the Bay of the tribe.
Inshallah, man. I'll be there.
Take it away, Sim.
All right, man. Help us out on patreon.com/the Mad Mamluks. Alternatively, you can go on madmamluks.com/donate and help us out through PayPal. We'll see you all next time. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.